Hello, hello. Today we are going to be talking about lesson 7.3, which is multiplying mixed numbers. We've already done multiplying whole numbers times fractions, then we went on to fractions times a fraction, and now we're finally adding multiplying mixed numbers together here. And through it all, we have had the same saying, multiplying fractions, it's no problem, it's the top times the top and the bottom times the bottom. And we're going to continue on with that. It doesn't change. Anytime we multiply any kind of fractions, it's always the top times the top and the bottom times the bottom. Our difference here is we have a mixed number. So we have a whole number out front. Here's just a review of what we did last time. And when we have mixed numbers, we have this whole number out front that we've got to do something with. Do you have any guesses as to what we can do with this? You're going to have to think back to last unit. I hope you thought of improper fractions, because that's exactly what we want to do. We can't really multiply any of this until we switch it. So we're going to go ahead and convert both of these to improper fractions. Remember, we take the whole number times the bottom and add it to the top. So I've got 1 times 3 is 3, plus 2 makes it 5 on top. The bottom number stays the same, so 5/3. Here we have 2 times 8 is 16, plus 4 is 20. So I end up with 20 over 8. All right, now I can go into what I learned before. We know that when we multiply fractions, it's top times top equals your top number, bottom times bottom equals your bottom number. But we also learned a little trick last time about trying to cut out some of our simplifying so we don't have such big numbers to work with. So I want to pause and see, is there anything that works together between the top row and the bottom row? Right here, 20 and 8 are both divisible by 4. So when I take 20 and divide it by 4, I'm left with 5. When I take 8 divided by 4, I'm left with 2. So now I'm left with 5/3 times 5/2. So when I multiply straight across, 5 times 5 is 25. 3 times 2 is 6. I don't want to leave it as improper. I've got to switch it back to a mixed number for my final. So I'm going to go ahead and ask myself, how many times can 6 fit into 25 without going over? Well, I know 6 times 4 is 24. That's as close as I can get. So 4 becomes my whole number. And when I take 24 out of here, I'm left with 1 left that I have not used, and my bottom number stays the same. So 4 and 1/6 is my answer to this problem. Good job. So here's our steps. You need to write these down. The first thing you need to do before you can start multiplying is to convert all mixed numbers to improper fractions. After that, I just multiply the top numbers, multiply the bottom numbers, and simplify. The only other piece in here is if you want to simplify before you multiply. I'll even abbreviate. Simplify before multiply. All right, so here are your steps to remember that you need to get in your notes about multiplying mixed numbers. So let's go ahead and try it again. What's the very first thing I want to do? I have 4 and 5/6 times 3/5. I only have one mixed number. This one's a fraction. So the first thing I want to do is convert this to an improper fraction. So 4 times 6 is 24, plus 5 is 29. So I have 29 over 6 times 3 over 5. All right. So do I have any? I like to simplify before I multiply. So 29 and 3, do either of those work with 6 or 5? I hope you said yes. We can take 3 and divide it by 3 and get 1. We can take 6 and divide it by 3 and get 2. So now I have 29, 1, 2, and 5. Nothing works together, so I'm just going to go straight across. 29 times 1 is 29. 2 times 5 is 10. Now I want to switch this back to a mixed number. How many times can 10 fit into 29 without going over? 2 is my answer. 2 times 10 is 20. And then I'm going to have 9 left over that I haven't used. So 2 and 9/10 is my final answer. Good job. You guys are doing great with this. Let's do one more together, and then the last one you're going to do on your own. Woo! This one, I'm throwing it all at you. I've got a mixed number and a whole number. Remember, ultimately, I want to get to be able to do top times top equals top, bottom times bottom equals bottom. Right now, I don't have that going on. So this, I'm going to have to change to an improper fraction, so go ahead and do that. I hope you were able to switch it to 16 fifths. 3 times 5 is 15, plus 1 is 16. And now I have a whole number. So you're going to have to think back to 7.1. What do we do with whole numbers to make them work with fractions? Yep, you guessed it. We have to put it over 1. All right? So 6 over 1. Now, this is an ugly one because I don't have anything that works well. 5 and 16 don't work very well together. 5 and 6 don't work very well together. And 1, that doesn't do anything for me either. So I am just going to take 16 times 6 for my top number, 5 times 1 for my bottom number. So let's go ahead and figure out what do we get when we take 16 times 6. 6 times 6 is 36. 6 times 1 is 6, plus 3 is 9. 96 is my top number. And my bottom number is 5. So now I got to figure out how many times does 5 go into 96 without going over. I'm not sure on that either, so I'm going to go ahead and do this. 96 divided by 5. I know 5 can go into 9 one time. 1 times 5 is 5. 9 minus 5 is 4. Bring down my 6. 5 can go into 46 9 times. 9 times 5 is 45. What do I have left over? 1. So this tells me my whole number is going to be 19. I had 1 left over that I didn't use. That's my top number. 5 is my bottom number. So 19 and 1/5 is my answer. That was a tricky one. The next one won't be quite so tricky for you. So I want you to go ahead in your notes for tomorrow. Try and figure out what 1 1/2 times 3 3/7 is. Good luck, and we'll talk about it tomorrow. Have a great night.